I'm going to sit down over here today, if that's all right. I know normally I stand to do what I do, but today I thought it would be nice just to be able to sit down and relax and see you guys face to face here and have a little conversation today. We're talking about eagerly serve, and so I'm excited to be able to be here and at this beautiful, fine restaurant over here. And just, is it okay if I enjoy a meal while you guys sit there wishing you had a meal? Is that okay? All right. Well, here I am. And can I pray first? Okay, let's bow our heads. Father, thank you for the food that I'm about to eat while they don't eat. And Father, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Amen. Eagerly serve, eagerly serve. Oh, hey, how are you today?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I was just in the middle of something, but that's okay. You can go ahead and...
Well, welcome to Journey Cafe. My name is Dryden. I'll be your server today.
Okay,
Can I get you started with something to drink?
Yeah, just a water and coffee. Coffee's a must, if that's okay.
Okay, I'll go have that right out for
Thank you so much. Wow. Man, isn't that impressive? So I guess today what I'm going to do while we eat up here is if you have your Bibles, by the way, we're going to put the reference up on the screen for you, but Mark chapter 10 is what we're going to turn to today as we talk about eagerly serve. And so there's a couple stories that take place there, and so I just want to read those together with you if I can before I get my drink. So here we go. Mark chapter 10, starting at verse 35, says this. Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him. Teacher, they said, we want you to do whatever we ask. Oh, wow, thank you. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. Don't mind if I... Oh, that's really, really good coffee. Thank you so much. So where was I? Oh, yeah, here we go. They came to Jesus and they said, we want you to do something for us. And so Jesus says this, verse 36, what do you want me to do for you? By the way, when you read one of the other gospel accounts, there's an indication that the mom of James and John are kind of behind this. And so she's like, hey, go ask Jesus. This would be a good time. And here's the question you got to ask him. And so she kind of puts them up to it. And so they come to Jesus and they say, hey, do something. We have a question. Will you do whatever we ask? And Jesus says this, what do you want me to do for you? And so if you have your Bible with you and a highlighter, that would be a great verse to highlight because that same exact sentence is going to come up a little bit later in the story. They replied, let us one sit at your right and the other at your left in glory. Well, you have no idea what you're asking, Jesus said. I mean, can you drink the cup I drink with, or I will drink, or be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with? We can, they answered. And by the way, so the cup and the drink that Jesus is talking about here is the cup of suffering. And so Jesus is about to go to the cross, and he's about to die after suffering a painful death. And he knows that his 12 disciples, they're going to walk a very similar road a few years after this. And so we can, they answered. Jesus said to them, you will drink the cup I drink, and you will be baptized with the baptism I'm baptized with. But to sit at my right or my left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they've been prepared. When the other 10 got wind of this, they were indignant. That just means they were like, bros, you don't do that. And so they run up to James and John like, what was that? What was that all about? And they're probably just envious that they got beat to the punch on that. And so Jesus sees the bickering and the infighting, and he called them together and said, you know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them. Their high officials exercise authority over them. He's like, that's not how it works with us. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. And then this, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and give his life as ransom for many. So Jesus tells them this beautiful truth about what it means to eagerly serve, to be a servant, to be a humble servant. But it's one thing, right, for you and I to be told something. It's another thing to see it modeled out live and in color. This is what happened next. Right there, the next verse. Then they came to Jericho. As Jesus and his disciples, together with a large crowd, were leaving the city, a blind man was sitting by the roadside begging. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth traveling through town, he started shouting, Jesus, Son of David, over here, have mercy on me, Jesus. And he's screaming this, right? Trying to be a little bit louder than the crowd. And so the crowd, they rebuke him, and they're like, shh, quiet, man. He doesn't have time for you. He's got important things to do. But he starts screaming even more, Son of David, have mercy on me. And so Jesus stopped and said, call him. I love this. So they called to the blind man, cheer up, get on your feet. He's calling you, whatever. And so throwing his cloak to the side, he jumped to his feet and he rushes over to Jesus. Here it is again. Verse 51. What do you want me to do for you? Jesus asked him. The blind man said, I want to see, bro. And go, Jesus said, your faith has healed you. Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. May God bless the reading of his word. So this, friends, this is Jesus displaying for us, live and in color, eagerly serve. And so what I want to do today, while we while we have this dialogue today, is I just want to ask a simple question. I need a drink first. Is that okay? Yeah, wait till the food gets here. Yeah. I'm not a sipper, by the way. I'm a chugger, just to let you guys know that. Yeah, I drink my water by the gallon. I just pound water all day long. So here's the deal. What does a servant look like? That's the question I want to ask you guys today. What does a servant look like? And so we're gonna talk about 4 different parts of servants. And the first.
Here you go. Here's a refill.
Oh wow! Already. Man, you bring a diaper too. You're gonna keep doing that for me. So the question I want to ask today, the first question is this: do you have the eyes of a servant? Do you have the eyes of a servant? Did you notice, by the way, the second my cup was empty, she noticed. And she came out with a fresh cup. And I want to tell you, if you ever served at a restaurant, I served at Applebee's for a while when we first got married, Emily and I. And so, and one of the things I learned right away, if you want a good tip, the best way to ruin your tip is to not be quick with the drink refills, because people don't want to be sitting there and they got food in their mouth and they want to reach for their glass and it's empty and they got nothing in there. If you don't, and so what I would do when I was serving at Applebee's is I would have, it didn't matter how many tables I had. In a lunch rush, sometimes I had 8, 10 tables at once. And I always had my eyes on the tables. And the second a drink got below half, I would drop everything else I was doing and make a beeline for that table and fill that sucker up, because if I wanted a tip, right, I had to have the eyes of a servant. Verse 49, Jesus did what? He stopped and said, call him. Call him. You know why? Because Jesus was always looking for opportunities. I want you to think about the context, right? He's on the way to Jerusalem. Why? Because that's the culmination of the entire purpose of his existence on earth, was to go and die for our sins and raise back to life. So it's on the precipice of happening. 3 years of ministry are now in the rearview mirror for him. And it's all about the cross. And so you got to think he's laser focused. He knows what's coming, and he's got to focus because this is going to be the biggest trial of all times. Yet he still found time to look for opportunities to serve. That blows my mind. And I feel like you and I, we get so sometimes laser focused on the things that we got to get done, right? And we have a lot of things to get done. We're like parents with little kids. And you get them up and you get them dressed and you change their diaper and then you got to feed them and then they go play. And the second they start playing, they start pooping. And then you got to change the diaper and then you got to clean up the playroom and you're preparing for another meal. It's all day long you're just focused on how do I keep this kid from destroying the house? You're so laser focused, and the kids get a little bit older and it's on the bus, off the bus, and you go to your job and then you have to get supper ready and you do homework with the kids and maybe you got important meetings or practices to go to. Listen, friends, I see it all the time. People that get so laser focused on the details of their life that they don't even look for opportunities to serve because we're so consumed by those. I tested this with my kids. It was a few years ago. Because at one point I was there was a sock on the stairway and it was there for 2 days. And I'm Dad, what? Just pick how hard is it to... And so I'm a few days after that, I took a big, large candy wrapper, right? Because I wanted to see what they would do. And so I put it on the stairway halfway downstairs towards the basement, right? Just right there, big candy bar wrapper. And because downstairs, Lily and Mac's bedroom's down there and the playroom's down there, they're always down there. They spend so much of the time, the youngest kids. And so I put it on the stairwell, and then one day goes by, 2, 3, like 4 days go by, and the candy wrapper's still there. So I had to corral the kids together. I'm like, what is the deal? Like, you guys walk up and down the stairs all the time, and none of you stop to just pick up. And they're like, wasn't mine. I didn't put it there, right? Like, no, you were so laser focused on why you were going up, why you were going down. You didn't have the eyes of a servant. You didn't stop, even if it wasn't yours to serve, right? In Northern Virginia, we're trained to do that all the time. We ignore the opportunities. We ignore the person in line behind us that's overwhelmed and stressed out at the grocery store. We ignore the person maybe pushing the cart and that there's a heavy case of water inside, and this person is like a little bit elderly and they got to get inside. We ignore the car pulled over on the side of the road. Listen, my father taught me what it meant to have the eyes of a servant. We've talked about this. There's not a car, any time when we run up, there's a car on the side of the road, we pulled over. We pulled over. Because what if they needed a tire change? What if they were out of gas? What if they needed a charge? And not just if he happened to see a car. In the winter, we had real winters. I hate fall. And people are like, fall is great. People know everything's dying. Like, let's just be honest about that. We're like, yeah, it's pretty for a week, and then it's just blah for like ever. So those of you that say you like fall, you don't. But because you don't have, here's the problem with Northern Virginia. You don't have winter. You have 3 seasons, right? You have like a short spring. It's like 2 weeks. And then you have a long, hot summer, right? And then fall arrives. We're like, oh, no more heat. Fall's here. Until March, right? Because there's no winter. When I grew up, snow fell in December. It was on the ground until like March when you had the thaw. That's winter. We pray for a snowfall every year. When you have to pray for snow, you don't have winter. Please understand this. So we would get snowfalls when I grew up, and the snow would fall in sometimes a foot, 2 feet at a time. My father would take chains when we had a big snowfall and put them around his tires and put shovels in the trunk, and he and I would drive around looking for cars that had gone off into the ditch. He had the eyes of a servant. Do you have the eyes? Do you have the eyes of a servant? The second question is this: do you have the ears of a servant? Do you have the ears of a servant? Oh, hey.
So here's our menu for you.
Yeah, I looked it out online, so I already know ahead of time.
Okay,
and I've only got a little bit of time because don't worry about them. So I'm ready to order if you're good. So I'm gonna. Oh, you guys have poutine? Oh man, poutine. This is a temptation, man. You know what? I'm not going to do it. I'll have the chicken sandwich meal, please. But let's see. Instead of the bun, like no bun. That would be great because I'll just donate that to charity or something. And then I'll take could you take the things that come on the bun, they're called veggies, and then just put them on the side of the chicken. That would be great. And then no fries. Instead of fries, I'll take do you have broccoli?
We do.
A side of broccoli would be great. And then no butter on the broccoli, just kind of bland. And then can I get a side salad? That would be great. Mm-hmm. And then instead of, I don't want the dressing on the salad. I do like ranch, but I only want a little bit. So just if you could put it maybe on the side, that would be fun. And that's it.
Okay. So you would like a chicken sandwich meal, no bun, veggies donated to, veggies on the side.
Bun
no
donated
fries,
to charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bland broccoli, side salad, and ranch on the side.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
They'll be out for you shortly.
Man, she's amazing. What a server I got. Did you notice how well she listened to that insane order? She repeated everything back. She had the ears of a servant, which makes me wonder, do you have the ears of a servant? When I order at restaurants, my family hates me. Because the way I see a menu, I see it as a starting point, right? Like, that's not what it actually is. So what I do when I see the menu, I'm like, oh, there's opportunities here, and they've got things that maybe aren't even being used in the kitchen. And so, like, I'll get there, and then the server will come over, and they all go around, and they order, like, I'll have the number one, and then they're done. And it just whips around the table like 10 seconds, and it gets to me. I'm like, yeah. So I'll get the burger, no, all that kind of stuff, and make all these alterations. Dryden's working at Panera now, and it's fantastic. So her first day working, she was working the whatever it is when you walk in there, not the drive-through, the other thing, the cashier, whatever it is, right? I don't know what it's called. So I'm like, oh, this is so great. I'm going to go in and see my daughter serve, and it's going to be great. So I walk up there, and so you have to know this. Years ago, when I was pastoring Gateway Bible Church, Stephen and Jeff Ward and I would go to Panera for our staff meetings all the time. And they had this sandwich called the Power Breakfast Sandwich. It was awesome. It was like rye bread, and it had like 2 big old eggs on it, and then it had ham, thick piece of ham, and then cheese. And every time I would go pound the Power Breakfast Sandwich. And then COVID hit, and when we came out of COVID, and I went back to Panera. All of a sudden, they didn't have ham and Panera anymore. I'm like, what did COVID do to the pigs? This makes no sense. And so I boycotted Panera. They didn't care about the Civic Club. I'm like, they took my ham away. And so I didn't go back to Panera for like the longest time. Their ham is back. The ham is back. And so I went in there. It's not called the Power Breakfast Sandwich now, but they have a sandwich, a breakfast sandwich with ham on it. And so I ordered that. And she's like, oh, great. And she put it in. I said, but wait, could I get it in a bowl? And she said, Dryden's like, this is her first day. She's like, what do you mean you want your sandwich in a bowl? And I said, but not on the bun. I want it in a bowl. On a bed of lettuce. She said, what? Yeah, just have them cut it all up and put it right there. I want it like a salad. She's like, what? Papa, like, what are you doing? And she's trying to find the buttons. She has no clue. I'm like, yes. And so I want to add veggies. What veggies do you have? And so she's having to pull up the veggies, and I want this one and this one. Extra tomatoes, please. And could you? And then I'm like, oh, no, not that vegetable. And then, can I get, do you have this kind of sauce? She's like, I don't know what that sauce is. Please go ask your manager. This is her first day. She's like, oh, she wanted to destroy me. Because that's how I order from a menu. And if you're going to take my order, you have to have the ears of a servant. You know what goes unnoticed in this text to me? We never talk about it. It's how Jesus listened. It's how Jesus listened. You see, he always listened to the need. He was Jesus. He didn't have to ask questions. He already knew. He could have just been like, hey, you, that's your problem. It's fixed now. Go. He could have done that. He's Jesus, but what does he do? He asks the question, what do you want me to do for you? And so the person could speak so that he could actually listen to the person. James, because that's the kind of servant he was. James 1:19 says what? Everyone should be quick to listen and slow to speak. If you want to be a servant, an eagerly serving Christian, you have to listen well. To serve well, you have to listen well, because if you don't, you're going to miss out on the needs. You're not even going to know what they are. You're not even going to know what they are unless you're willing to listen. When Emily was in the hospital with Lily, it was one of the long hospital stays, like 5 months or something. And I was like ground zero, so how we worked it, she would stay in the hospital name that kid that was in the hospital, and then I would do the home part of it. So, because she found out, if she was at the house, and physically present, she was mentally and emotionally still in the hospital, and so she's like, that's not working out. So she would stay there, and then, so I'd get the kids up, get them on the bus, get them fed, all that kind of stuff, and then I'd get in the car and drive to Children's, and then I'd visit them for a couple hours, and then get back in the car and drive back in time to get kids off the bus, get supper ready, help with homework, in the nighttime, do church work, and go to bed at midnight, get up at 4 a.m, and do it all over again. Every day of the week, that's what it was like. And every once in a while, I'd have John Hendricks come over. He was my neighbor, and he would come over at midnight, and then I would leave at midnight, so I'd get some time in the middle of the night when it's quieter in the hospital, and then I'd leave the hospital 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning, get back by 4 or 5, and do it all over again. That was my life for 5 months. I was wiped out, extremely tired, not willing to admit it, not willing to admit I needed help either, because I had the Superman complex. No, I got this, right? And I remember one time I'm home, and the doorbell rings, and I go to the doorbell, and these two ladies standing in front of me, and it was Molly Maid. And they're standing in front of me. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. You must have the wrong house. I didn't order any service here. They're like, no, we're here to clean your house. And I'm like, no, you're not. Maybe you have the wrong address. I would check the order that you received. You're not here to clean my house. They're like, we're here to clean your house. I'm like, no, you're not here to clean my house. I clean my house. And then she said, no. And then she said, the name of someone said to come and clean your house, and they paid for it. And I said, oh. And then I remember what happened. Earlier that week on Sunday morning, I was talking to a group of 5 or 6 people maybe, and they're like, hey, how's it going? I was doing the superhero thing. Oh, I'm great, man. It's not bad. I'm just trying to play catch up on the cleaning, and I got to run this over here, and then I got to do this over here. That's all I said. And somebody listening heard that one phrase mentioned in passing. Just got to catch up on the cleaning. That's all it took. Why? She had the ears of a servant. She had the ears of a servant. That's unbelievable. You know, Jesus, there was a crowd that day, and they thought he was heading for a coronation in Jerusalem. They were going to crown him. They're cheering. It was a ruckus crowd, right? And everybody's screaming. He heard the one person in the crowd blocks away who had a need. What are you hearing? Are you listening when people talk? Because if you're going to eagerly serve, you have to have the ears of a servant. So do you have the eyes of a servant? Do you have the ears of a servant? And the next thing is this: do you have the heart of a servant? Do you have the heart of a servant? Oh wow, oh man, it's go time. Oh wow, this is salad. Look at this
Does
grilled
everything
chicken.
look good for you?
Oh yeah. That's amazing. Look at this, people. Oh, it's so amazing. I'm gonna sample the broccoli. Oh, it's so good. That's so good. The dressing. It was supposed to be on the side. There's a little bit of a dressing on
I'm
that.
so sorry about that.
No, don't worry.
Well, what do you want me to do for you? I can comp the salad.
Oh,
I can go have them remake it for you. It'll just be a couple minutes.
You know what?
Do you want me to
It's
do for
not
you?
that many carbs. I'll just close my eyes and eat it. But thank you for thinking of me in that. Like, wow. It's okay. I'll make do. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about
My
that
goodness.
again.
Wow. Let's try this. No, I better not. I'm going to stuck in my teeth, and I'll start spitting all over the place. And yeah, it's protein. I can't say no to protein, people. All overnight. But don't worry about that. Oh, it's so good. So let me ask you. Wow. Oh, grilled chicken, man. Let me ask you this. Do you have the heart of a servant? Do you notice what she asked me? When there was an error on the plate, she went above and beyond and said, well, what do you want me to do for you? Verse 51, that's the same question Jesus asked the servant, or the beggar, right? What do you want me to do for you? Not just the beggar. Did you notice that was the same question that Jesus asked the disciples when they came to him? See, for Jesus, it didn't matter what your income level was, what your status was. It didn't matter how famous or insignificant you were. It didn't matter what your education level was. What do you want me to do for you? He had the heart of a servant. I want you to think about that story in context. This was a blind beggar. A blind beggar. And so the Jews, so we see people like that today, and we feel bad for them, and we want to do something for them, and we have a bleeding heart, and let's start a GoFundMe for them. We see people in need that way, and we're like, oh man, do you see that? Not them, not that day and age. It wasn't like that, because if you were born with some kind of an ailment like that, see, their theology of sin, they believed that if somebody was born blind, it's because there was sin in your life or in your parents' life or maybe your grandparents' life before you, and it was generational sin. And so, they weren't trying to rescue you if you're born blind. That's just that you got what you deserved. And so this blind beggar is like the lowest of lows in society. And what does Jesus want to do? What does he do? The lowest of lows, and Jesus makes himself what? Even lower. That's why in Philippians 2, he's called the humble servant. He's called the humble servant because he would lower himself even to death on the cross. Jesus always wanted to help because he had the heart of a servant. Think about this. You read the Gospels, and he would walk into town, and crowds would come to him, and they all had needs, and demon-possessed, and I'm sick, and I'm blind, or I have never been able to walk, and people just come in droves to Jesus. And what does the text always say? Jesus had compassion on them. You see, there's a difference between pity and compassion. We're great at pity. We see the commercials on TV from these kids across the world, in Africa maybe, and they're starving. They get swell bellies. We're like, oh, I feel really bad. And then we wait for the commercial to end and do nothing. We feel all kinds of pity. There's a difference between pity and compassion. Jesus had compassion because he had the heart of a servant, and he found a way to help. He always found a way to help. That was his heart. I want to tell a story about Patty Rude. That she fits the bill for this. And here's why. When Salsa was little, we were at Gateway Bible Church. I mentioned that earlier, and it was church in a box in a school. So we had to set up the nursery preschool area, all one room, gates between, and so we had people working in there all the time. It was great servants, but they had work because Salsa was, when she was little, she was very attached to me, and she could scream. And so what would happen every week is I would bring her to the nursery before church, and I would put her on the ground, and I would try to distract her with toys and all these kind of things, and other kids in there like Isla and Taylor and all those kids playing, right? And then I would try to sneak out, but the second she saw me, she would run at me. Rihanna knows what's coming. And she would start screaming like bloody murder. And I have to peel her off of my body and give it to the person working that day. And she would scream sometimes the entire time, just like this. I would walk down the hallways hearing this. Oh my gosh, I felt bad for them, like working. I felt bad for her. Really, I felt bad for me. Like, it was, oh my gosh, my heart was breaking, right? And this went on for years. You have to understand, like, it was crazy. I'll never forget this one day for the rest of my life. It was that traumatic for me. So I go in, and I'm doing the whole put her down thing, try to distract her, and I know I'm bracing for what's coming, and she's going to scream, and it's going to be hard on the workers, hard on me, whatever. And so I get up, and I do the sneak away thing. And she sees me, walk towards the door, open the door, and then she turns around and goes, "Bye, Papa." And I'm like, what? I walk down the hall, I'm crying. She doesn't need me anymore. And I'm like, heartbroken. And so what I did that day, I may have lost friends forever because of it. So I walked, I don't know if it was you or Kelly back in there, or maybe both of you. Rihanna's nodding. I walked back to the nursery. And I leaned into the room, and I said, "Goodbye, Salsa. I'm going to miss you so much." And then I turned and walked away. Oh, the sound of the scream that day. It was awesome, yeah. I was still doing penance for that. Like, I went back there one day, and it was the whole thing, and Patty was working. And so I bring Salsa there, and put her in the arm, try to sneak out. She's screaming. I'm walking down the hallway. I'm like, oh, man, this is like, she's pretty new in the nursery. Like, she hasn't been there that long. Like, I'm feeling horrible here. And so I'm like, you know what? And I walked back to the room, and I said, hey, do you want me to get, like Dryden or Emily or someone and bring them back there to help out? And she says, no. She said these words, "This is where I want to be." See, Patty had the heart of a servant. This is where I want to be. Do you have the heart of a servant? Because in order to eagerly serve, you have to have the heart of a servant. There's one more question I want to ask today, and it's simply this. Do you have the hands of a servant? Oh my gosh. That is, I am...
No, it's okay.
I am so sorry. I am so embarrassed. That's a waste of good chicken. Oh, you're phenomenal. I can clean up. I don't mind.
Okay,
Are you
okay.
sure?
Yeah, don't worry
Man,
about it.
do you have the hands of a servant? I mean, look at her. Like, you talk about the hands of a servant on her knees, getting her hands dirty in the middle of the mess. Which makes me think this. We look at verse 51. I want you to think about this. This guy in his story, this blind beggar, he's sitting in the dirt. He's in the hot sun. Crowds are traveling by, and dust is sticking to his body. He's sweaty and smelly and grimy. And what does Jesus ask him? What do you want me to do for you? Notice what Jesus doesn't do. Jesus doesn't tell him, hey, this is what I want to do for you. No, stay over there. Be healed, go. Jesus could have, he's Jesus. He could have done a long-distance healing. He's done it before. He did it with the centurion's son and just proclaimed him healed. Jesus could have did that, but he didn't do that. He asked an open-ended question, and that dude could have asked for anything. Like he was a blind beggar. You think he had a lot of affection in life, going his way? I doubt it. He's probably pretty lonely, so he could have said, Jesus, a back rub would be great. Oh, Jesus, I am so lonely, and I just, one big hug, right? Like, he could have asked for anything. In Matthew chapter 8, Jesus heals a leper. So you talk about, like, bottom of the rung as far as, like, how you were viewed. The lepers were it, because if you got leprosy, there was no disease for that, and so if you contracted leprosy, they would ask you to live outside of the community. In these villages designed, and it would be all just like a colony of lepers. And if you came in town, because I got to buy food, I got to do something. Like, if you came in town, you had to social distance, right? Like, and then you had to cry out as you walked, and people came near you, unclean, unclean, unclean. Because the fear was so rampant that you could and then you would have to live out there. You know what Jesus does when he heals the leper in Matthew chapter 8? He touches him. He didn't just heal the leper with his hands. He touches him. Jesus had the hands of a servant. You have the hands of a servant. Years ago when I was in Chicago, I've talked about this. I was living in Illinois, actually, doing my master's, Champaign, Illinois, and I started to think about, like, the fact that, man, I have a pretty comfortable life. I know where my next meal is going to come from. I know where I'm going to sleep at night. And then I started thinking about homeless people, and they have no idea. Like, what is it like to live a life like that? We have no idea where your next meal is. We have no idea where you're going to lay your head. And so I became so convicted about this. I'm like, well, you got to find out. And so I had my friend, Barry Friesen, drive me to, it was like Memorial Day weekend, to downtown Chicago, Lower Wacker Drive, the heart of the city, and just drop me off. I gave him a pickup date and place for some time in the future. And I had taken nothing with me but a blanket, a whole-written blanket, and a plastic bag with a water bottle, and lived in the streets of Chicago. It was crazy because at the time, like the first night that I was there, it started to rain, and I was in a park, and so I slept. I went into the public bathroom in the park and slept on the floor beside the toilet. And then I finally, just through wandering the city, found some homeless shelters and slept in homeless shelters every night. And I was a children's pastor at the time. And so I'd walk into church on Sunday morning, and kids would run up to me and bear hug me, and I'd give them shoulder rides and high fives, and how's your day? Get down their level, and parents would put a kid down, boom, they'd run at me. I loved it. I had a motorcycle at the time, and I would take little kids, because parents are dumb, around the church parking lot on the motorcycle, and the older grade school kids, parents let me take them around town. It was so awesome. Like, I was around kids all the time. Loved it. Kids running up to me. When I was in downtown Chicago as a homeless person, I'd walk down the street, and there would be a mom with a couple kids coming my way, and she would pull her kids away from me so they would get nowhere near me. The whole time I was homeless, I wasn't touched by a single person once, except for an officer that threw me out when I was begging one day. If you're a follower of Jesus, you don't walk away from the mess. You run to the mess. You run to the mess. You stop what you're doing because you notice the need and run to the mess. Are you willing to get your hands dirty for Jesus? Do you have the hands of a servant? I love the story. There was a man that attended a men's ministry, and the whole theme was being a servant of God, and he came back on cloud 9 and was like, sweetheart, I want to be a living sacrifice. And his wife said, great, you can start with the dishes, right? There are so many dishes around here to do. We have a children's ministry that could use you. Your time, your effort, your investment in these kids. We have a youth ministry with these students and these teenagers that need love and mentoring, and they need to be taught Scripture. We have a worship team and a sound team and events that we do. We have something called the clothing giveaway. You may have heard of it. Like this week. And we're asking you to do this. Eagerly serve. Do you have the eyes of a servant? You're looking for the needs. Do you have the ears? Do you stop and listen so you know when and you don't miss the opportunities? Do you have the heart of a servant? Like are you so filled with compassion for people that you're like, I can't help it. I'm moved. I'm motivated. I have the Jesus compassion inside of me. And do you have the hand of a servant? Are you ready and willing to get your hands dirty for Jesus? Are you willing to eagerly serve? Will you pray with me? Father in heaven, I thank you so much that you not only told us what it means to be a servant, you showed us what it means to be a servant. And so, Father, our example comes from you. You are the one who lowered yourself, laid yourself down, put yourself below humanity. Like you walked away from heaven in glory so that you could take on the form of a man and meet our most pressing needs. I thank you for being my servant, for being our servant, for eagerly serving me. And so, Father, my prayer is this, that for everyone in this room who loves you and knows you, that side of you would take over them, and that we would become a people that eagerly serve.